Okay, so I answered this in the comments, but I do want to talk about it because I know a lot of people think like you. So this was a 3-part comment, but she was pretty much asking like, listen, I tip 20% no matter what, but I've always wondered, why is it considered rude to only tip like 5 on 50, but not 5 on 25? Like the cost of my dish doesn't make the server do more work. And it's true, right? Like it's a very weird concept to think about. Like just because my bill is higher, why do I have to tip more? The server didn't do any more work for it for the most part. I mean, if it's a large party, then yes, they did do more work. But if you just order the most expensive dish versus like a cup of soup, you know, the server isn't doing a huge amount of difference in work. Now, I'm not saying that this is right. I'm saying that this is the system. Okay. So the reason that you are expected to tip more the higher your check is because we have to tip out, which means pay out the support staff that helps us throughout the shift, like the busser, the host, the food runner, the bartender, based on our sales, not on tips. So let's say my sales for the night were $1,000. The company is assuming that the guest left me 18 to 20%, so an average of $200 in tip. Now let's say that my tip out is 5% of my sales. That means that I have to tip out to the rest of the staff $50 no matter what. Now let's say that the guests that night are not in the best mood and they decide to all leave me about 10%, an average of 10% that night, which means that I only made $100 and still have to tip out $50. So if the guests tip the 20% that the company assumes they're gonna leave, I tip out the $50 and I walk home with $150. If the guests are not in a mood that night and leave me 10%, I only make $100 while still tipping out the $50. So I only walk home with $50. It's a very fucked up system, but that is the way the system is set up. So in pretty much every restaurant, a server does have to tip out their support staff. It can be like at expensive places, like let's say more high-end steakhouses, their tip out can be up to 30% of their sales. So yeah, they're making more money, but some people, like, those tips aren't guaranteed. And you know, a table can spend $300 on 2 people and leave $3. So you know what happens? That server is paying out of their pocket to pay everyone else, because every place that I have worked has made it automatically pulls it from your money that you make. You don't have an option of opting out. And a lot of people will say, well, that's why you tip cash. It does not matter. I mean, yes, we like cash more, 100%, but it doesn't matter because no matter what, it will be pulled from your money. Whether it's your paycheck or how much you owe at the end of the night, it doesn't matter. We have to pay it no matter what. We don't have a way to opt out. So thank you for giving us cash, but we still have to pay it. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to understand unless you've worked in the restaurant industry. It's a fucked up system, but this is why servers get mad when people don't tip the 20% because then we're paying out of pocket, which shouldn't be put on the customer. I understand, but that's the system.